often in our lives we have difficult people that we have to deal with. And it's most often that the hardest relationships are often with the people closest to us. There is strong attachment to these relationships, and therefore they have a powerful grip over us. Often the best remedy for healing these relationships is distance and space, allowing the energy of each person to not be influenced so heavily by each other. Because when we're always interacting with that other person, we're always influencing each other's perspectives, emotions, thoughts, and energy. And so two people are kind of intertwined in this kind of dance. Oftentimes it's a dance of death, because there's so much conflict, there's so much tension between the two people, and they're not willing to just walk away. And if the person is a parent or someone very close to you, you feel like you can't just walk away. And so oftentimes creating space, creating a bit of distance where you don't interact with that person allows each individual to reflect, to sit with their own energy. And then you can come back as two different energies, and maybe then can work out any problems. But what do most people do? Most people are traumatized, they're hurt. And so they just keep re-traumatizing themselves by getting in the same arguments, by having the same conflicts and problems. They say out loud that they don't want to fight, but secretly, deep down, there's a part of all of us that enjoys the conflict, that is addicted to it. But who will admit that? All you have to do is look at someone's actions to determine what they really think or how they really feel. And I would say that the overwhelming majority of every conflict in every relationship that I have seen comes from a sense of selfishness. Each person is only paying attention to how they feel and what they want, and that the other person isn't acting in the way that they think they should act. Many people are like children throwing temper tantrums because they're not getting what they want. Many people in relationships, they say, I love you. But only if you do this thing for me. Only if you act in this way. It's a weak love. And what you will find is that when the pressure is applied to a relationship, the truth is exposed. And see, I don't believe in running away from the truth. No matter how difficult it is, it must be faced. Because it will be faced regardless. If you think about it, anybody can pretend to be whoever they want when things are good. when they're comfortable, when life is easy. But put somebody under pressure where they become uncomfortable, where they are stressed. Now you see their true colors emerge. And this is great advice for anybody who's thinking about getting into a relationship, because you do not know somebody until the pressure is applied. And perhaps that is why women are always testing men, testing to see who they really are. And so in relationships, we need to get out of our own heads, to get out of our own perspectives, because people get blinded their whole life in this story in their head, this personal interpretation of their life experience. But as we know, the brain, the mind has to ignore 99% of reality. Because if we paid attention to everything, we would become schizophrenic. Everything would have an abundance of meaning. Anybody who's taken psychedelics understands this very clearly. It is because people are so attached to themselves, to their identity, to the story in their head. That is why they are blinded to the truth. Their focus is on me, me, me. You did this to me. This happened to me. Why do people treat me like this? Well, my friend, I'm here to tell you that everything that happens to us is nothing but a reflection of what is within us. Our outer environment is a mirror. It's a reflection of our character, our personality, of our thoughts, our emotions. And if you really pay attention, what you will find is that all of the judgments we make upon other people are nothing but projections of our own inner reality. So that person you're in an argument with, that person you just can't seem to get along with, pay attention to the words you use to describe that other person, why you are judging that person. Because it is in the judgment that you feel justified in your position, in your stance. And what you will find is that every single thing that you use to describe that other person is actually your unconscious sending a message about you. And you will be absolutely astonished to realize that you are much more like that other person than you'd like to believe. The only reason we become triggered by other people, it's because it reveals something about our own identity, our own attachments. That is why relationships with others is very useful. They reflect back to us things that we may have repressed in our own self. The things we judge others about are nothing but the same traits that we've repressed in ourselves. And what you hate about that other person is what you hate in yourself. You cannot get along with that other person not because of what they do, It's because you have not yet fully accepted and loved your own self. And so what you reject in yourself, you reject in others. What you cannot stand to see in other people, you cannot stand to see in yourself. And so until you make the unconscious conscious, until you look in the mirror, the arguments will never go away. They'll never stop. Because everybody is under the illusion that there are individuals, that there are people having relationships. And yet the truth is that life is just one big monologue with God and itself. When you see the underlying unity behind all things, you discover that nothing was ever personal, but everything that happens to us is precisely the exact thing that we need for self-discovery. Every experience exposes something about us. And why most people spend their whole life a slave is because they're so caught up in themselves. They're so caught up in the illusion. They take things so personally. They identify as a victim. And we must remember that whatever we identify with, our brains, our minds, with something called the reticular activation system, will selectively focus only on the things that reaffirm what we already believe. That will only see the information that reflects our identity. And it will ignore everything else. Because it has to in order for us to live a normal human life. One of the most dangerous things we can do is believe that we know the truth. To say, this is how it was. It's like that one analogy where there are people in a dark room with an elephant, and one touches the tail and says, this is what an elephant feels like. One touches the trunk, no, this is what an elephant is like. One touches the leg, no, it's this way. All of them are correct. And so they believe what they are saying. They believe the story in their head. And yet all of them are wrong, because it is not the whole truth. And so we must accept that we can never understand the whole truth about anything. This will allow us to remain humble, to remain open, to see clearly. Otherwise, we will always be blinded. The unconscious will always lead our life. We will call it fate. We will question, why do these things happen to me? God works in mysterious ways. But in reality, all we need to do is begin looking in the mirror. And this is common knowledge, but we know that we can't change other people. We can't change other people's behavior. We can't change the way they think. And we definitely can't change the way they feel. And yet, people spend years and years trying to force people to think in different ways and feel in different ways. I'm going to rationally change your mind with evidence and facts. Probably the biggest mistake that men make with women. It's like you're not speaking the same language and then you wonder why there's no communication happening. And of course, everybody thinks they're the good person. Everybody thinks that they're on the right side of justice and morality. But I'll tell you, more people, more suffering has been created in the name of righteousness, in the name of good, and probably has ever been done in the name of evil. Evil is really not that common. It's just that the displays of evil that occur are very vivid and very loud, so they grab our attention. What is far more common is the good person who unintentionally creates suffering in the world around them because they have rejected their own evil, their own darkness. And so their mind selectively focuses only on the things that reaffirm that, yes, I am a good person. And they ignore all the evidence to the contrary. And then it's easy to play the victim. Bad things just happen to good people. And it's not that this is false. Bad things do happen to good people. But it's better to see clearly than to be good. And the problem isn't being good, the problem is being attached to an identity. I don't believe that one can be good without recognizing their own depths of evil. The evil that they are capable of. One cannot know good unless they have experienced evil. And you either experience the devil in the world around you, or you find the devil in the mirror. It's better to be completely aware of one's own evil and ignorant of one's own good. Because when you're aware of your own evil, only then can you manage it. But if you are unaware of your evil, then it's creating mayhem and destruction in the shadows, in the darkness. It's creating massive problems in your life. And then you are forced to deal with these terrible experiences, the terrible consequences that these unconscious actions create. And this allows you to even more heavily identify with being a victim. Because when you take the stance of a good person and bad things happen to you, it's comfortable to be in the story of, well, it's just a big bad world. I'm just a helpless victim. I'm not saying that life isn't unfair. I'm not saying that bad things don't really do happen to good people. But until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You will always question why the things happen to you the way they do. Never realizing that parts of ourselves that draw those experiences to us. And so if we wish to heal the relationships we have with others, it comes down to simply changing our own identity. Our relationships can only be healed by changing the paradigm in which we are experiencing our reality. But so long as you're caught up in this story in your head about the way the life is and the way that this person is, and you continuously reinforce that with negative emotions, and you will eternally be stuck in that situation. But the lesson will be learned, whether it takes one lifetime or 1,000 lifetimes. I don't see the universe in any hurry. I don't see the universe rushing for your enlightenment. And the identity that must be changed is the identity that your body believes who you are, your unconscious identity. And so throughout our lives, our bodies are always taking notes to try and help keep us alive, preserve our survival. So it stores information in different areas of the body. And this information that is stored in the body is like a brick wall that will always keep you from moving forward. The more we feed negative experiences with our negative emotions, we continue to make this information, this trauma, we make it more and more dense, more and more solidified in our body. If I get my heart broken, and now I have an identity around being a heartbroken person, and my heart will begin to be closed off energetically. I will cut off the supply of love in my life. And then my mind will focus on all the reasons why I deserve to be heartbroken. I will attract only people in my life that will break my heart. Because this information is stored in the body. Because the heart has an intelligence that remembers. And you see this happen all the time with people. They play the victim. Nobody loves me. Life doesn't love me. Why can't I find love? I'm worthy of love. But in reality, you don't believe that you're worthy of love. Because if you believed it, you wouldn't have this problematic identity that continuously attracts negative situations into your life. If you get your heart broken, you can let it go as soon as it happens. You're not storing that information in your body. You're not becoming afraid of the future. Oh, I hope this person doesn't break my heart. There's that saying that if you don't heal the trauma within you, then you'll bleed all over people who had nothing to do with it. If I get my heart broken by another person in the past, and I still have this trauma stored in my body, and when I go to find another person, there's going to be these thoughts that, what if this person breaks my heart? What if this person cheats on me? What if this person leaves me? And this fear, these thoughts will influence my emotions. These things will influence the way I interact with that person. And subconsciously, I will push that other person away. That other person will be repulsed by the energy that I'm giving off. And so again, I get to reaffirm this identity that, oh, okay, I am somebody who's not worthy of love. Because at least you know, and you're not drowning in the sea of chaos. You're not lost in the unknown. people will do insane things just to reaffirm their sense of self-identity. Because when we believe we know who we are, we have a sense of control over our life. And this control gives us a sense of safety. I'm in control, I'm safe, I know what's going on here. And that payoff to most people is so valuable that they're willing to sacrifice anything for it. They sacrifice love for the sense of control, the sense of safety. They sacrifice their future. They might sacrifice all the good things in their life just to say, I am right. All so they can have a morsel of false safety, of false control. Because who dares say the words, I know nothing and I control nothing? It's far too terrifying to even entertain the notion. But people want their cake and eat it too. They want to be a victim. They want to feel helpless. They want to feel like they have no control. But they want the power and control of being right, of feeling in control, of having a strong sense of self. Most relationship problems stem from the ego, from the sense of self-identity. And all relationship problems are healed by the realization that there is no separation, that we are all one, that other people are nothing but a reflection of ourselves, that the outer environment in which we live are nothing but a reflection of what is within us. And of course, even if you are some kind of enlightened being, there's still going to be problems. There's still going to be difficulties. But the one who experiences, they will not experience problems and difficulties like the average person does. Everything by default will have a positive charge to it, or it will be neutralized and have no meaning. A negative situation can happen, and a person might right away see the positive. The negative doesn't even enter into their experience. And then you get the average person who goes through that same negative experience, and they do nothing but focus on the negative, and it lingers with them for days. People are so silly in what they choose to focus their attention on. They're so careless. If you get angry in traffic for whatever reason about somebody else, that negative emotion sticks with you for hours. A 30-second experience that means absolutely nothing. You have now wasted your energy. You probably won't even experience the poison that lingers. There will just be this sense of unsatisfaction, this general irritability, this kind of subconscious tension, and at any moment you're ready to snap. It is absolutely unnecessary to live your life this way, and it is a crime to continuously waste your energy on nothing. It is the only crime. In that moment of anger in traffic, what purpose does it serve? It serves no purpose but to reinforce this sense of self-identity that I am right and they are wrong. And you get to feel a moment of pleasure because you get to feel powerful and in control of your life. You get to use other people as a way to justify your own existence. I guarantee most of the world's suffering and the world's evil have been done in exactly the same way. That we are the good people, we are on the side of God, and they are the demons, they are the devil incarnate. So we can justify slaughtering them and their families, because that is what God wants us to do. And we can lay our heads comfortable at night, believing that we are on the right side. And all of it was just a manipulation of the ego, tricking you into believing that you are somebody. All for its own purpose of feeling to need to be in control. The righteous step all over the unrighteous to make themselves feel powerful. I believe Marilyn Manson once said something along the lines of, the weak are only there to justify the strong. You see, in life, the rich people wouldn't care about being rich if it meant that there weren't poor people. And so too, the poor people can justify their own existence by saying, look at these evil rich people. I'm just a helpless victim. Both are projecting onto the other a sense of disgust. Look at these disgusting poor people. And look at these disgusting rich people. Both their judgments about each other are really just a reflection of their own selves. And they get to play this game of war with each other. The poor against the rich, the men against the women, the light against the dark. I ask, who are those who see beyond, who see the truth, who are not perpetuating suffering by being caught in this illusion? They are few. The best way we can begin alleviating the suffering of this world is by reflecting on our own relationships, reflecting on the ways we interact with other people, reflecting on the ways that we judge our enemies, reflecting on the reasons we hate other people. Or more specifically, what are the traits you hate about other people? Because the more you reflect and discover your own self, your own shortcomings, the more you can find peace, the more you can become whole, to become integrated, and not have so many repressed emotions, repressed thoughts, repressed traits. When you have peace, when you have love, when you have joy, you spread these things into the world around you without you needing to do anything. And so long as you are suffering, and that suffering will be spread, whether you're a good person or not. You could have the best heart, you could have the best intentions, but if you are suffering, you will spread that suffering. Because we are all connected. Because we are always exchanging energy with one another. So ask yourself, do you want the energy, the emotions, the thoughts you feel within? Do you want other people to have to bear that burden with you? I'm not saying that you don't accept help from other people by sharing your problems, by sharing your burdens. I'm saying that you take the time to figure it out. Understand why you are not happy, why you are not peaceful, why your heart is not full of love. Discover why it is you are suffering. Because if you truly wish to be a good person, you must also not be full of suffering. Because you will contradict your desire. You will spread suffering when you want to spread love, joy, and peace. So you must find these things within you first.